music. There's been music in people's life. Honestly, I don't care for music that much. I'm not a huge music fan. How negative can you be to say I'm not a big music fan? It's not really what I like to do. I think it's an affectation of mine to say that. I like music as much as anyone else. I just don't get into the habit of listening to music. It's probably good because then I would get ridiculously obsessed with it. Alright, what should we do today? I did say on the feed that we would mess around with orgmode, and the reason why I thought that was there were some really good YouTube videos on orgmode that I could watch and then just play around with. People do that. People do that on Twitch, you know. People watch YouTube on Twitch, and I'm presuming that there are some YouTube reaction videos of people watching Twitch streams. I'm not sure. It needs a third element, don't you think? It needs, like, while tweeting. I don't know. More modalities, the better, in my opinion. Alright. You don't need to see all of this. But you are. Okay. I think I'm gonna mess around with this status bar again a little bit. That's where we are. I am pressing return. Still not really a fan of emacs. Like, why can't I go to the... Yeah! Thank you for the follow. I didn't leap out of my skin. I guess these are what people call jump shocks. Jump scares. Jump scares. Okay. Here we go. I still don't know who just followed me. I'm sure it's in one of these logs somewhere, right? Not that one. Let's see. Which TV? Kirby. Gonna tell me here? I have some secret information that I can use. I look at the secret. There we go, RoboJosh. Hi, RoboJosh. Thank you for the follow. I need some bot to tell me this stuff, don't I? RoboJosh. Hey, hey, Josh. It's the EFF, Josh. It's really good to see you. I'm up to no good. I'm just trying to code in Lisp. As I've said before, I probably picked the wrong week to learn emacs. Most commonly associated with Mr. Stallman. But, you know, I always believe in separating the art from the creator. Particularly when you can liberate the art and set its own way to have it explore the world on its own, like a tiny podule. I'm having a lovely night. I actually do this to relax, and even if the music is kind of very unrelaxing at this point, let me turn it down a little bit. And you? I hope you're having a good night, even though... Okay, that's quieter for me. I don't know what it's like for you. Yeah, I hope you're having a fantastic night, actually. I do this to relax. I think I already said that. And I was already coming into it pretty relaxed, so... I have that like weird, oh my god, somebody's at work, somebody I work with is here. So it's not like if like having your parents come and watch you do something is 100, I think having someone from work is probably a 10 or a 20. But hey Mabref, hey Wavio. I'm just gonna decide I should pronounce that in as exotic a way as possible. Hello, Lide Burrito. That's a great name, LED Burrito. I'm assuming it's LED Burrito rather than like Led Zeppelin, but it works either way. All right, let's have a look. What are we doing here? Gotta look. No, that's not what I'm doing. Like, this is me playing around with emacs last night after you'd all gone to bed. And so I now have these two new to-do items of hello this thing and another thing. But that was good. I enjoyed learning. So I think like shift, yeah. So I don't have one of those clever things that tells you what I'm typing. But yesterday I learned that you do shift in the cursor keys to mark things as done or what have you. And I've been doing that with something else much harder to do. Control C, Control T, I think. These are my messing around with checklists and things like that. For people who don't know what orgmode is, I feel I'm honor bound to tell you. Here we go. Orgmode is a thing for emacs, and I'm sure there have been multiple attempts to translate it to other text processors. But if you live inside a text editor, which I certainly do a lot of the time, I used to live in Emacs, in Vim, and now I live in Space Emacs. This is one of the things that people really like to organize everything in a text file. And it's something I've deeply craved for many years. In fact, you can see my somewhat stutering attempts to do this in the past. Let's have a look. Let's look at the historical record, because somewhere down here there should be my... God, look at all these things I've started and then wandered away from. So you can... These repositories, you can actually find just things that you created rather than things that you were fiddling from someone else. If anyone is interested about the settings and scripts for Cotherapy, they are here. I'll stick this in the chat, so cut and paste is still a thing that people do, I believe. Oh, that's super retro. That was the first thing I did on Twitch. Gosh, 3 years ago, when it was yo big. Twitch was just tiny. I think that's probably true, actually. I think it's still getting bigger and bigger. Here we go. So, this was... God, look at that, 9 years ago. Holy crap, that's a decade. I can't believe it. There's this weird thing as you get older where I feel like the whole of life, there's some point in your life where if you're a car driving along, your foot suddenly slips onto the gas pedal and you just accelerate and just keep accelerating. There's a force behind you that pushes you, and it's like, to change metaphor, it's like going into hyperspace. It's like and everything just gets faster and faster. Like 9 years ago is legit too long ago, but it feels so much closer than 20 years ago would have felt 9 years ago, if that makes some kind of sense. Okay, the thing that's super ancient about this is, I swear to God, I don't always talk about this, but it's probably it's probably something that I just casually drop into the conversation, like maybe once every month. Look at all this. Are these videos good? Okay. So I think the thing that when when my accelerating car ride finally comes to an end, I think this is sadly going to be one of the things I'm most known for, is that I invented the term Lifehack. Yes, I did. 2004. So that's 15 years ago. Okay. And one of the things that in the talk that I gave about life hacking back then, one of the conclusions I had is that everybody I interviewed lived their life in text files. And I don't know whether that, like, there's a sort of chicken and an egg thing, where I think that's probably useful for people. I think a lot of like programmers, and the term painfully I used at the time, but it was in the air, was alpha geeks. But I think that a lot of them did that. The explanation I gave at the time was that they'd been burnt too many times, right? That they'd gone through some productivity program and got kind of into it for a while, and then either the program you know stopped working, people didn't sell it, it went out of date, or they just kind of grew out of it, to be honest, got bored and moved on to their other organizational cult thing. And if you do that with programs that store things in a database, or you know, their own proprietary format, it's really hard to move to something else, right? You put all this effort and then it's just stuck there. So I think people defer to the lowest common denominator, which is text files, just because they give this sense that they're always going to be around. Anyway, that's what I thought at the time. I don't know whether that became kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, because a lot of people then went on to go, oh yeah, that makes complete sense for me. I will build some application that uses text. So there were a lot of apps and things like that afterwards that concentrated on that, and people came up with like, yeah, here you go, absolute definition of it, right? Is that you future-proof it. It's got this like broad like not a standard, but like it's just a file that you write things down in, and then other things can pass it. People, you know, businesses got built around that. Is it true though? Is that more useful? I don't know. I mean, one of the reasons why I kind of backed Homer like into a hedge about Lifehack's advice was that I really didn't know whether it was true or not. There was so much more of it that was like, yeah, you totally should do it this way. Go on a keto diet and have some bulletproof coffee and only sleep 2 hours a night and you will be super efficient. And I was like, I don't know whether this is true. The key point, I think, for me came from when I was like working out all of these ways to show people how to use keyboard shortcuts. So when I'm doing this, I'm not like mousing around. I've got like little keyboard shortcuts for things, which one day I might show people. That would be interesting. But anyway, and then I read some research that said actually keyboard shortcuts are not faster. People just feel that they're faster because perceptually moving a mouse and clicking on things just feels like it's taking longer. Again, we go back to the car driving furiously through time and space, right? It just, when you're trying to remember key codes and key combinations, time goes faster because you're thinking about something, right? You're concentrating on something. When you're just moving a mouse around, that's just another part of your brain that's doing that. So you're conscious mind is actually noticing the time go forward. Anyway, that's again like another unprovable theory. But the interesting thing is that there were kind of tests, and at the very least I sat there going, I don't know which one of these is true. I'm just like this random journalist. And at that point, like, the whole house of cards fell around, and I was like, I don't feel I can tell people what to do. Keyboard shortcuts are better, says Weskerfoot, because you spend less time moving your hands from mouse, trackpad to keyboard, and puts less stress on your wrists. So, yes, I mean, I'm like Mr. Keyboard, right? I use a track point on this laptop. I don't like using mice. Actually, mice give me RSI. And I use Vimperator and Dactyl. I have it like, this is Vimium, I think, which is the Firefox equivalent of that. And you know, when I'm in the mood for it, I use that to like super zoom around. So this is a feature where you go, oh, I want to go to this link, so I'll just type SK, and bang, you're there. And then moving back, I'm not like clicking on the back button. I'm using these keyboards shortcuts. But that's not true of everyone, and I am amenable to the idea that actually there's kind of a limited set of people for whom this is a benefit, and they also feel like it's going quicker much more than it actually is. I mean, we should, you know, I should do some like double-blind Twitch streaming studies, right? But if you think about it, like, I'm just going, look, it's not like super slow, right? That's not where my life is bleeding away. And that's, you know, it's not a million times faster. I think on this setup, keyboard shortcuts are good for me because I've got these like multiple full screens, and I flip between those, and I think that is something which stood up to the test of time, at least for me. The Josh, if Josh is still around, will vouch for this. Robo Josh, I have in my office the world's like most insane big monitor. It's not like one of those ones that has like 20 different things, so you look like you're looking into a religious triptych, but it's pretty big, and I bought it to spoil myself a few months ago, and honestly I do get a lot more done there, and that was borne out by, there was some early research at the same time as when I was doing Lifehacks that said bigger monitors give you a percentage increase in your efficiency, whatever that means. And then there were some other papers that kind of debunked that, and then I think it's like settled out. I think what people realized is that there's an upper limit to that. Which I guess makes sense. Like if you had like a cathedral of monitors, that's probably not, the marginal improvement of your 50th monitor is not really helping. And we may be hitting that now. Like, is a 5K monitor going to help people more than a 4K monitor? Don't know. I like this though. I like what I have now, and I have Sway set up now. Actually better than X. I'm really happy with how my move to Wayland has gone. I have this set up so that when I plug in a big monitor, it'll just reorientates itself, and yeah, it works better for me. Big monitor. Big improvement. Alright, that was a lot. So where were we? Keyboard shortcut. I should try. Maybe that's another thing to try and write. Write or find one of those. I'm not going to remember what this to do means. One of those on-screen key display. What is that? What do I mean there? Okay, I'm going to try one of these shortcuts here. It's like comma, insert, note. So that's what's comma in, and you write something here. What I mean by this is a up that plays what keys are like only if mad. See. When keys appear. It sounds like something that would be actually way beyond my programming skills, but hey. Man's reach must something is grasp. Look, why are they still there? Okay, made them gone. Okay, so let's mess with this status bar. So if this is your first time to Cotherapy, welcome. The main thing that Cotherapy is designed to do is just to be nice and background. It's like happy trees, kind of passive service, so that you can be just as relaxed as you would if you were programming. You don't even have to program, you can just watch me blunder around, and believe me, the Schadenfreude alone will get you through the night. I am trying to build this computer from basically bits of purest Lisp using the Geek system. Oh look, I haven't even put anything in there. Something. There we go. And I haven't got very far, but one of the things that I've just managed to do is, I know it doesn't look very impressive, but we were all very happy last night when we got this working, believe you and me. This little status bar here that tells the time, and I think what I want to do is just generalize that out a bit, like try and see if we can put things like battery up there, and maybe even these tracks that I'm showing at the moment. All the music on this site is on this stream is Creative Commons, and so you should be able to just if you look there, you should be able to find all these tracks, but that takes up quite a lot of the screen, right? This is a lot of the screen here, so maybe if I just had it kind of along here, people would spot it. The other thing I really want to do is have clickable links for the music, but that's not something I've managed to successfully explore on Twitch yet. Okay, so guess we should check into this. So this is one of the things you can do with orgmode, is you can record how long you've been doing something. Like I put in an hour and a half in this a while ago, but now I've started again. I always forget to check out. It's sort of embarrassing, but there you go. I did the Lifehack thing because I am super disorganized myself, and let's be honest, I think that I could get a diagnosis of ADHD just by walking past a doctor's office at this point, but that's okay, because everyone has problems kind of being organized, the extent that the modern world needs it. Okay, so we're in this, and like I think what we want to do is actually like describe what we want from this status bar. And I think the best place to put that is in the status bar code itself. Really, FSSD? Okay, SlowPower.guile, this is the program. It's written in Guile, which is a kind of scheme, and scheme is written in Lisp, and Lisp is what the universe is written in. Probably the only computer language to have a reasonable claim that it was discovered rather than invented. Okay, so you can see that this is pretty this is pretty, it's just hacking this together. This uses a JSON format to send things to SlowPower, which takes the JSON format and then uses that to determine what's going out, and then you just re-output the JSON format on a regular basis, and you send an array of objects, and then when you send another array of objects, those objects replace the things that you were displaying before. So this changes every second, and the reason why it changes every second is because we have a loop here, and the loop takes the status, converts that into JSON, outputs that to standard out, which is like printing the of JSON, printing this sort of data format. And the way we run this program, that output gets sent to the thing that displays it. So I can kind of show you, actually start up a terminal here, then do .guile. This is the program we have there. You can see it's like going, here's the text, here's some more text, here's another text, here's some more text, here's some more text, and like each one is incrementing it up. So, and that goes off to something that understands that. Okay. So, okay. Want to make it a to-do list or a structure of it? Our status bar, we would like the time and date, the currently playing track, the last follower, because I never know who that is, and if there's anything else we should have over there. Current to do. I actually have that successfully running in on my other computer. I think it's like a little bit of emacs, so we can port that across. Not sure how to do it. Excuse me. Not sure how to. Now I've got you all yawning. I apologize. I apologize for the contagious yawning. And if you have any questions, don't feel ashamed or confused or embarrassed or hurt to ask in the chat. Because, guys and girls and people beyond the binary, I'm really close to getting affiliate. And I think one of the things you're supposed to do is to get everyone to chat simultaneously. I think that's because in Twitch, I have a theory that Twitch is actually this black magic project, and the people at the heart of it, Justin TV or somebody, are getting people to do things like emojis and emotes, and they're all, I mean, they don't make sense on their own, but maybe if it's like an arcane eldritch chaos magic ceremony, that they're just slowly adding more people to that. And I mean, who am I to stop them? So my dream is that this channel will eventually have hundreds and thousands of people responding to my bad Lisp code with just like endless emotes and KKKKK and GG. And at some point we'll immanentize the Eschaton simply by doing that. Okay, so, well, we should get rid of foo here. I don't think the name's displayed or anything, so in this we have day's date. Make that kind of a little bit quieter. That's the default value that starts. Good Cthulhu HP Lovecraft. I saw somebody on Twitter whose name was Hewlett Packard Lovecraft, and I laughed at that. And of course, friend of EFF and friend of quite a few people, Isis Lovecraft, who I think her surname has survived rather better than her first name, which now everyone goes, "You named ISIS? You mean after the terrorist organization?" You go, no, it's from a completely different historical tradition. Okay, keep me yawning again. Now I've made everybody. There's like a lot of like really good stories in digital sorcery. If you've ever read Charlie Strauss's Laundry Files, which I have not, but they love that. And in fact, the book that, if you ever want to learn this computer language that I never appeared to actually get around to writing anything in, the structure and interpretation of computer programs, actually begins with this whole thing about if you learn how to code, you will be like a wizard, being able to invoke things just by naming them. This funny wizards on the front of it. It's the wizard book. Okay, so if I save this and I run it, you'd get to say, yep, okay, cool. Does the little loading sign first. So, guess the next thing to do is do one which is current. Hopefully I'm going to generalize this stuff. You can already see some similarity between these two things. And we can... Oh, that's sort of interesting. So I think what we need to adapt this to now is, yes, that's the bit of SIP-CP that everyone's managed to read, right? Like, I think I didn't get much further than that. One of the things I was thinking about the stream actually is having an SICP like reading group. We could just go through it together, and then maybe collectively we would get past chapter 3. I actually met someone. Oh God, I apologize. I met someone, well, actually my brother-in-law, who took SICP at MIT from Jared Sussman, and he said it was the hardest course he took. So, a bit terrifying. Okay, so we now, yeah, why don't I put that as a to do? Use tags more. About A-A-P. Think about terrible way to do it. Like, you're supposed to use active verbs like get or phone or kill. And I guess think is kind of an active verb, but it's, I mean, what am I going to do to take that to do off when I've thought about it enough? But it would be good. My problem is like, I don't know, my schedule is not super amenable to streaming. Wait, I didn't want this to stay in green. I really like that green. What are we listening to? I've suddenly become very Ken Burns. Dear Mama, today I wrote Lisp with brother. We have been writing Lisp now under general. Okay, now the music's changed into it's insane. Slight problem of using Creative Commons music. Times a little bit predictable. Textbook clubs, sort of things, are somewhat popular in the Twitch science and technology things. Yeah, that's where I kind of got the idea. Like I say, like the person who I really like is Soding, and I think one of his streams is just him not reading books. I think he would be too cynical to read a book. But he does definitely watch like train videos. Yeah, I've heard that. And there's Lisp in small pieces. There's that one about like Planet Lisp, or I can't even remember what it's called. Oh, Letter of a Lambda, I think is like that. Oh no, Land of Lisp, right? Land of the Lisp is the weird spacey one. Letter of a Lambda people like, though it's a little, shall we say, opinionated, a little bit eccentric. Not something that you would expect from the Lisp community. Ooh, $299 a snip. But look, you can get it as a Kindle. Why is it vary in price so much? Oh, because you can rent it. Bullshit. So, at work today, we had a very nice person come, a couple of people come and talk about the Internet Archive's Open Library. And Open Library has a really interesting deal whereby they have scanned all these books, and they scan them from physical books, and then they keep the physical book and then lend you the scan so you can take it out and look at it. And when you're done with it, they lend it out to someone else. Yes, it is, which doesn't surprise me at all. SICP is Creative Commons, and the videos are open too, because that whole environment was sort of ground zero for all of these things. Okay, yeah, I wonder what books on Lisp they have though. Anyway, it's amazing. It's an amazing resource, and of course, the more people know about it, the harder it will be to get out any of these books. But hey, that's pretty good. I enjoyed reading that. I got that out. It does use DRM. Slow steps. In an ideal world, we wouldn't need that, but we're just trying to work out how to get the world's knowledge available for everyone. It does have some DRM though. Look, it says a waitlist. Why do you have a waitlist? It's like, it's Creative Commons. That's what we could call our Lisp show. To Lisp and Arts. What did Lisp in Small Pieces? We got here. We've got one hit, but I can't actually see it. Okay, that's a bug. I really feel like librarians and the Internet Archive are really trying to work out a reasonable compromise around DRM. So, if we collectively bought a copy of Lisp in Small Pieces and then we sent it to the archive, they would scan it in. It cost them about $20 to scan in a book, and then it would be available. What the hell? This feels like music from inside Mr. Creosote. Hold on. Okay. I never want to hear that again. Much nicer. A basic interpreter, like an interpreter for basic, I would much prefer that to one of those endless how to write a scheme tutorials. Okay. Current track. So we have these little things. Oh, let's try and do the minimal. Minimal would be an array. Just work? Nope. Why doesn't it work though? Thought I had a shell open. Guess not. need to get parinfer running on this. I really like parinfer. Stops me doing things like that. It really works hard to make sure. Okay, that was an error that I was ready to expect. Okay, well, we know that this is going to be out of date, but I don't think that's what the problem is. Okay, so we've basically thrown it a list when it's expecting an a list. Go Ken Burns-ish again. Okay. Before. Full loopy with all of this. This is actually the same thing. So much for skipping these tracks. Arpanauts seems correctly appropriate. Well, honestly, because I just wanted to see whether it was gonna fall the same way. I have to admit my brain is a little dead right now, so I'm doing that thing of yeah, I might want to skip the national anthem and Piccolos. I know what this is. Yeah, I'm just kind of fiddling with something to see whether I actually understand this correctly. it, it looks like it's the same thing, so. So loopy. Day's date. It'll be alright, right? Yeah, it's happy with that. And so it should be. So it's gonna have problems turning the day's date into, or an array of these things into a vector. Like, it can do that. It's happy with that. I can't even remember what that vector is, but it's not going to be able to do that with even one of those. Yeah, did. So derp. So this string to a list is part of okay. It's freaking out. I mean, there's hardly anything to this program, so I'm assuming it's freaking out. And this bit. Did we not attain? Okay, we have at least similar looking error. Strangely formatted. No, that's totally wrong. I don't like Emacs's undo. I find it not as good as Vim's undo. Vim's undo, you can just go back in time and then futz around and then go back into the future. I never feel worried that by undoing or redoing, I'm losing anything. And maybe that's just because I've developed a bunch of good habits. Vim, oh look. Ooh. I have to say, I was too lazy to actually check to see whether that's the correct format. It appears not to be. Looks a little like we've got too many. Okay. I got distracted then, that's why. Hello, Ripple. Okay. Ooh. Fair enough. I have to make this new status work. So I always feel like this is time to like throw myself down the time sink that is object-oriented programming in Lisp in Scheme, but not today, Satan. So really what we have is a fairly easily defined, like we can pretty much derive a lot of, God, we could even write a macro, that would be scary. We can derive almost everything about this. Like, what we could have here is just a Lisp function there that generates the text. Some intuitive thing is making me a little cautious about actually stuffing a lambda into that field. Don't know why. I think it's because they really recommend against doing that in Elm, but that might be like for completely different reasons. Kind of fun, wouldn't it? What would we... What arguments would we give that? What we really want is some sort of transformation. So this function, I think we might be able to reinvent as a kind of change. So let's like prefix these or postfix these with status. Overuse status in this document, in this program. Feels like this is like, but it does feel like these are objects. Like you interrogate this object and it will be able to output it as a list. Well, it's pretty clear cut what we should do. I feel like what you should do is you should have a function which takes a lambda and a name, and optionally a color, and well, let's try that. Okay, so status, give it a name, give it a chunk, then you give it a color, ground, and then that's going to return Sumi flail. No. Twitch's music thing? What's that? That they're like music you're allowed to use, or like their policies on remuneration. I did get something shut down from YouTube for using, even though I got the thing where they said, hey, we spotted that you've got some music that someone has claimed copyright over, so we're just going to run ads on your video and then they get the money. And I was like, it's a Creative Commons. Oh yeah. But sorry, I missed that. The official allowed to be played on stream, Twitch Music Library thing somewhere. Yeah, but like I, being an ass, want to use my own collection. This stuff is all downloaded from the Free Music Archive. Being a script, which I believe is in the Cotherapy GitHub. And I kind of like how some of it's cheesy. Ooh. Thank you for the link. I can't paste your... Oh. Ah. Well, if I do that, then all of this stuff that I've written to tell me what track I'm playing is doomed. I get the music from. I've been banned from Pretzel Rocks. Is Presto just EDM? No, some of it is the national anthem in Piccolos. Where does Pretzel's music comes from? It comes from a GPT-2 generator. Oh, I want to support Creative Commons licensed. So. That's kind of sweet. Not really saying we will never get this music. We'll have to deal with people whose generosity is matched by their struggles in musicality. And I just want to support Creative Commons licensed music in every way except financially. I mock myself. I should go to bed soon. Alright, don't show me up. You can't see this, but I have like a little... Oh, I see why. Sorry, I am off screen. I am desperately trying to click on your link. Huh. See, Python. Can't do Python. This is an all guile channel. You underestimate Andoril from Nasil, the absolute moral purity of my mission. And don't look at this. I know this is shell script. It was before I saw the light. It's maybe how we end up doing it. Apologies if I'm becoming increasingly less coherent. How do people who like stream 8 hours a day do it? I don't answer that. I exactly how music has stopped and emacs has suddenly decided to be less than amenable. Not sure about this one. Gonna leave it for a bit. Emacs, on you. Okay. Right. Got it to respond. Okay, it's saying... Is it because we have... I enjoy the variety of music. Error in process filter quit. I'm tempted to do do a kill all guile, but that may just remove my entire computer. Yes. And they sleep for 2 hours and then they wake up streaming. Okay, it was because that got wedged. Okay, useful knowledge for the future. Each stop coming up. Well, Geeks is going to be that. That top looks kind of. Yeah, I used to have a script called Nut, and I'm trying to get into the habit of using pkill instead, because they both do the same thing, except that kill is often installed, and no, it isn't. The joke with top always used to be that you would use top to find out what process was taking up a lot of CPU, and top would beat it. You'd have a wedged computer and you would type top, and then you would have two problems. Oh no, now we have competing tops. Hello Deca266. Sorry, I got you confused there with Deca226, who looks a little like you. Yeah, it looks a bit like the Geeks people tweaked top, which makes sense because so many of the processes have very long file directories. Okay. Let's try H-top. Nice. Whoa, it's a lot of ops. Tree mode. 5. Very. Okay. Look at that. Look at all those threads. Threads or processes? Don't know. Yeah, well, I certainly have my own stack of processes. Wait, why do I have like 3, 4 guile processes going on there? Everything seems to be like doubled or tripled here. Or is that just because... Oh, I see, that's the actual thread. That's what it is. Really nice. Search on it. Okay, okay. Okay. It's going into a sort of ASMR musical track, which I'm not a big fan of, frankly. Oh, I see. Oh, skip track, Ben. My like. Okay, this is what I pay my Creative Commons taxes for. Okay. I definitely have a haunted track list and drill. I don't know. I think this music actually has a sort of oldie-timey kind of emacsy feel to it. Oh, what's going to be next on the cursed track list? The most cursed thing about Clementine is it just stops playing sometimes. Okay. Wants attention. Well, this bit's just be dead air. Did I accidentally turn the volume down on it? No. God, totally cursed. Oh, okay, the music is playing for you, but not for me. Did I just turn it off really loud? Okay, I think I'm going to take this as the as God's way of telling me to stop streaming for the night. Yeah, 11 o'clock. That seems right. Okay. It's been a pleasure with all of you. I think I wrote like one line of code there, but you know, it's the voyage that counts. And I didn't do any org mode, and I didn't tell you any gossip. Well, apart from Open Library, which I hardly recommend you explore. And if you're into kind of the copyright politics, have a read of conditional digital lending. No, controlled digital lending. It does involve DRM, but it's a real advance, I feel, in working out a way that we can get the stuff that's in libraries into people's hands and make the amount of content that's freely available on the internet greater and of better quality. Super, super interesting. Otherwise, have an awesome time, and may your oh, no, it's not playing anything. May your own soundtracks be unhaunted and inspiring. It's the soundtrack of your life. All right, speak to you soon, people. Bye. Follow and subscribe, or whatever you're supposed to do. Bye.